All right, guys, welcome back to the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, episode 224. I'm your host, Rick Shiels. I'm here with Guy Chan, co-host. How's your weekend been, Guy?
Good. I think a weekend's always good, isn't it? If you don't have a good weekend, there's something wrong with you. Unless something unforeseen happens.
Some people, believe it or not, prefer the Monday to Friday at work.
Pathetic.
And I thought you did too, but obviously you were wrong.
You know what? I had a good weekend. However, it didn't quite live up to its expectations, and let me tell you for why, Rick.
Well, it was a huge sporting weekend. Is this where you're going?
Your nail. No, you've hit my nail with your head. Does that sound right?
Not sure. There was too much sport this weekend.
Well, you know, as the listeners and viewers do, not only am I a golf expert, pundit, player, etc.,
Wow.
I'm also now a semi-serious rugby league follower.
Oh, God, I forgot about the rugby
Correct.
as well.
So, Friday, this was a perfect weekend. St Helens were playing Salford at St Helens, and apparently, not that I knew this until watching the game, Salford haven't won at St Helens like 40 odd years. So it was going to be a whitewash.
Proper got into this.
Of course I have. I'm loving it. So I sat down to watch it. They lost. St Helens lost right towards the end. They had a man sent off, which was a controversial sending off. Anyway, they lost. So that wasn't great.
You must have to do something pretty bad to get sent off.
It was well, I think they've implemented this new rule now where high tackles have always been bad because you could hurt somebody, you could give them obviously brain injuries, concussions, etc. But I think they're going really serious on it now. And it wasn't really a high tackle, but anyway. So that wasn't great. Then there was the boxing, right? Okay. You ready for the start of this story? It's going to strap yourself in.
Go on.
Anthony Joshua and Ngannou was obviously on Friday night. I was dead excited. I'm a very casual boxing fan, and I get
I thought it was the big news. Then I was like, I know that bit.
and I get sucked into the hype. I watch all the YouTube videos the week or two before. I'm the textbook casual, and I'll pay for the fight. I'm happy to pay for a fight. Okay, here's what gets interesting. It was $19.99 on Sky Box Office, or the same price on DAZN. Okay, now if DAZN ever want to sponsor us, I quite like DAZN, but I'm gonna have a dig at them now. So if anyone from DAZN's listening, I'm not happy. The DAZN app is better, and if you wake up in the morning, you can like drag it back and watch where you left off. And I always fall asleep before the fights are on, so I thought, right, you know what, I'm going to go with DAZN. I'm going to watch it on DAZN. It was also $19.99, so there's no issue. It's the same price on either platform. However, this is where the trick comes in. DAZN, you have to have a monthly subscription for, and then pay for the box office. Okay, it's not ideal. However, the box office was $18.99. The 1 month subscription offer was £1. So it's still $19.99. So I do it. Okay, great. Pay for it. Apple Pay. Bing. Before I know it, I look at my receipts. I've been charged $18.99 for the box office, correct? My pound wasn't a pound. It was $19.99 as well for a month of DAZN, which I don't want.
Ouch.
So I'm £40 down the drain.
Ouch.
The fight was over in 2 rounds.
It was a good fight, though.
It was a good fight. The fight, 2 fights before that, there was a young Scouse lad called Nick Ball who used to go to my gym. I never knew him, but he's only 5'2", so he's tiny, but he's unbelievable. He ended up drawing.
Oh my God.
So that was frustrating.
At least it went 12 rounds, that one.
Well, yeah, but that was a draw. The Joshua one was over really quickly. Then Liverpool drew against Man City, which I kind of have mixed emotions on.
Oh.
So, yeah, my weekend, actually, thanks for asking, mate, it was...
So that's why you've turned your attention back to golf.
Of course, how was your weekend, more importantly?
It was really, really good. Claire was away with the girls this weekend, so I had the kids to myself. We went and played some mini golf.
Nice, saw that.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to talk you through every shot.
Shot 2 holes. Did you make 75?
I don't know if I did. It was only 12 holes as well. It's actually really good. So here's a rule, okay? And my kids aren't old enough to listen just yet, but sometimes when my children have a go at mini golf, they get quite excited and they'll hit a shot. And certainly if it's got some sort of feature, like this one that we played at had this bloody snake that wrapped around. It was really actually quite good. One that had this loop-de-loop and all sorts. Obviously, they want to go through the snake or loop-de-loop or whatever. And then if they don't, they start from the beginning again. And luckily, it was really quiet. There's no one on there because it was a cold Saturday afternoon. The kids were doing it. And then about maybe the 5th or 6th shot on the second hole, Ivy, my eldest daughter, whacks it up to the belly of this snake. It wraps around, and it goes in, right? It wasn't her first shot, okay? So she's running down the hole, finger up in the air, hole in one. So I've got a predicament here now.
Explain the asterisks.
What do I do? Do I shatter her dreams and bring her down a peg or two because I'm now up next and I'm probably not going to get a hole in one, so therefore she's going to beat me on that hole? Do I allow her to get excited and kind of, explore the possibilities and dreams and the way she'll be going into school today, walking with her shoulders back and her head high going, I made a hole in one this weekend?
The father in me says, of course do that. The golfer, the competitor in me says, how dare she? She got a 7. And you went down that route. Of course you did.
I didn't. I allowed her to dream and dream big.
Wow.
But later on, she got that kind of fake hole-in-one. In fairness to her, a couple of holes later, she got an actual real hole-in-one.
There you go.
Pearl got a real hole-in-one. I got a real hole-in-one. Jude, it wasn't Jude's day this weekend.
No. Did he put at least?
He really struggled. No, he lost his temper. I think he's been watching Dad too much on YouTube. I think he lost his temper a little bit this weekend, but it was really, really good. And then just other things that we did. And then it was tough here in the UK this weekend to really consume a lot of sport. Not for the sense that it wasn't readily available, because it was, albeit you've had that incident with DAZN. I didn't bother buying the fight. I just watched it in the highlights next day, which I'm glad I did, because it sounds like you had a horrendous time with it.
I did.
And I'm not that into boxing. But this weekend here in the UK, it was Mother's Day on Sunday. Why put so much incredible sport on when it's Mother's Day?
I know.
It's a real predicament for a lot of people, because obviously I wanted to watch the Liverpool City match. I did. And to be honest, I watched a lot of it. I allowed my wife, I said, you know what, darling, you've had a real tough, she had a busy night the day before, she went out with some friends, I said, you've had a real tough day today. Why don't you go and have a nice, long, relaxing bath? I'll look after the kids. I'll do the tea. Mm-hmm. She went, oh, so lovely of you. She shot up the stairs, had a bath. I went, right, beans on toast for the kids, or spaghetti hoops on toast it was, on for the kids. I'm there. Man City versus Liverpool. What a game of football.
It was.
From a neutral, it was one of my
favourite. Who were you wanting to win as a Man United fan?
I wanted to watch an entertaining football.
Which you got.
I did want to see a last minute goal, because I'm addicted to last minute goals.
Yeah.
I am, albeit I didn't want either team to win. I would have loved the last minute goal to equalise, albeit that it went 1-1. What my dream scenario when it was 1-1 with 20 to go, one of the teams would score in like the 80th odd minute, and then the other team was scoring like the 95th minute. That was my dream as a spectator. But to be honest, I thought it was an amazing game of football, and I actually watched a lot of the highlights of the football this weekend as well. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, unbelievable 3 teams at the moment. I'm so excited again as a neutral. Obviously, my team United are down at bloody 6th or 6th at the moment. We're not going to catch anyone else, but to watch those 3 teams battle it out over the next few games is going to be epic.
Well, we had a great weekend of sport and golf this weekend. There was a lot going on, a lot to unpack, and ultimately
that was the other thing.
Well, that's the thing. So you've had the European Tour, you Live Golf was on this weekend. Obviously, it was one of the flagship events with the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. You've just recently obviously filmed a video at. What a weekend!
So again, a lot of it was down to what time is it on at, and what was I doing at that time.
Yep.
This particular weekend, I really didn't watch a great deal of Live till like the last few holes, because it was on in Hong Kong. It was really early in the morning here in the UK. I watched the kind of final few holes with Abraham Answer, kind of almost semi-messing it up as he played the last few holes. Then I watched the 1-hole playoff, which was amazing. Like 3 different ways of playing that 1-hole playoff. So I didn't see a load of Live Golf. I didn't actually realise that Anthony Kim, AK, actually shot that incredible round of golf.
I've got a sniffle.
That incredible round of golf until like almost after the event. I was like going through leaderboard. I was like, what? He beat John Rahm. He beat Bryson DeChambeau. He beat Dustin Johnson. What the actual hell?
Well, this is one.
Did I call it? I felt like I called it last week. I think I called it last week.
I wanted to get stuck into because, and rightly so, there's been a lot of talk about Anthony Kim, who finished 50th in the event, so not quite the bottom this week. He had a +6 over first round, then a 2 over, so improvement there, and then a 5 under par. So he said that final round he had was one of the best rounds of the day. There's a couple of scores better, but not many. And as you can imagine, and kind of understandably so, social media yesterday was a bit of a storm with a lot of Live fans very kind of happy and rejoicing in the fact. And I can somewhat see why. And again, my thoughts on this are nothing against Anthony Kim as a person, because can I blame him for joining Live? No. Would I do the same in his position? Yes. So there's absolutely no personal attack on him with what I'm going to say. However, where I would come at this from a little bit differently, and where I kind of think the Live fans are kind of almost making their own point invalid, is the fact that people are saying, oh, he shot 5 under par, he's been away from the game for 12 years, whatever, Right, okay. But that just proves why it's ridiculous that he's playing Live Golf. He's been away from the game for 12 years and he's been thrown straight back in with some of the best players in the world. He's clearly not ready for it.
It's certainly jumping in the deep end.
Well, that's what I mean.
There's even talks, it's come out kind of in the press this weekend, he's not been fitted for golf clubs yet.
Correct.
He doesn't know, he only recently learnt about the drop knowledge from the knee, not the shoulder.
Doesn't know how to use a TrackMan.
Doesn't know how to use a TrackMan. Like, what the hell?
And this is the point. If Live Golf...
There's actually quite a beauty of all of that.
There is, and this is the thing, again, it's not a dig at him, it really isn't, but if you are Live Golf and you're a Live Hard, Die Hard, which it feels like there are a lot of on Twitter, then you're essentially in the camp of arguing that your product, your tour, is as competitive and as legitimate and is as whatever the other words you want to use are, as the PGA Tour. And you have to agree to a degree that there are some players on the Live Tour, obviously John Rahm being one, Brooks Koepka, etc., that are superstars, that are at the top of the game, that are amazing golfers. But with having such a small field and those 54 players that they have, having Anthony Kim in there when he's not played golf for 12 years just shows that it is some level of exhibition. And that's nothing against, his 500 round of golf was brilliant and great. But when you're playing at a competitive level with 54 guys, one good round doesn't cut it. And on that word, cut it, again, there's no cut in Live Golf.
He wouldn't have actually made the
Correct.
cut.
So he had the luxury of having, there's no cut, there's no pressure. He's playing for nothing, really. He's got paid already. I'm not saying it's easy to shoot 500 par at those golf courses. I could never dream of it. I'd be happy with 15 over par, I'm sure. But with all those things said and done, you can't confuse that going 6 over, 2 over, 5 under when it means nothing and there's no cut to doing it in a proper tournament. You just can't.
I think the only saving grace there, it shows that there is a golf game in there.
It does.
That there's a golf game in there, and whether it's next event that happens, which I actually don't know what it is, I think it's like 3 or 4 weeks away now. Does it happen then? Does it happen later on down the line? Like, at least it shows, well, there is a golfer in there.
I would agree. However, what I would also say is how many people have we filmed with either, I don't want to say the word failed tour pros, people who've maybe left the tour or people who've never been quite able to make it or whatever, who you watch play golf and you think, how are you not on the tour? James Robinson example. Yeah. James Robinson had a year on tour, played at the Open, an amazing golfer. But, and he wouldn't mind me saying this, the reason that he's not on the tour now is that he can do that 1 in 10 rounds, but doing it consistently and often when it matters with the pressure on is a different kettle of fish.
I think I'd even go deeper into that. I feel like someone like James Robinson or other pros who have unfortunately not managed to complete their real dream of playing on tour properly, a lot of it's down to financials.
Well, yeah.
And it's actually being able to do under the pressure when financials matter.
Correct.
Like when you're actually playing for your sponsors, your mortgage, whatever. With this, you're right. Like I would feel fairly confident if you stuck James Robinson straight in Live, a friend of ours who's been on the channel loads of times, and you've seen his golf. If you put him in this situation, he will shoot rounds like that.
And that's the thing, and to my point, and this is, I'd love to sit here in a week or whenever the next Live event is and Anthony Kim win it, and I'll happily eat my words, but the day that Anthony Kim shoots 5 under first round and then follows it with another 5 under, that's maybe when I'll eat my words. But shooting that 5 under last day, yes, it's great golf, but surely a lot of these guys who've not played golf for 12 years, there'll be loads of guys who now work in a pro shop who quit the PGA Tour 12 years ago because they couldn't make a living, who with no pressure whatsoever could go and shoot a 5 under. So that's my only caveat to it. And I know there'll be people in the comments saying, oh, you're being harsh on him or whatever. And I am being harsh on him because professional golfers playing professional events deserve criticism and critique. So I'll be intrigued to see how he goes on. That's my caveat to it.
I don't think they deserve criticism and critique, but it certainly comes with.
Well, exactly.
It comes with put any golf tournament that gets put on, and there's a people who want to have their opinion around whether it's the PGA Tour. Obviously, even this weekend, like the PGA Tour has caused a lot of controversy this weekend.
Yeah.
Like at Bay Hill. So Bay Hill, unbelievable place. Arnold Palmer Invitational, one of the flagship events this year. First off, Scottie Scheffler. What a performance. And I'm going to put it down to 2 major factors. Number 1, it's quite obvious, his putting has improved tremendously. He held 15 footers or something on the final.
It was within 50,
six 15 footers on the last round. He went out and shot the lowest round yesterday after being at the top of the leaderboard to win now. Was it by 5 you won by?
Won by 5.
Like an absolutely ridiculous ridiculous performance. If he keeps that putter hot, which is now he moved to a mallet head shape. Apparently, loads of talk about it before. Even Rory McIlroy recommended him moving to a mallet.
TaylorMade must be happy because he was obviously in the Scottie Cameron for a long time.
Like Rory McIlroy convinced him to move, or suggested he should move to a mallet putter. He has put a mallet putter in the bag. It's definitely worked. So that's number one factor. Number two, it's quite obvious to most. The fact he's now grown a beard.
He does look good.
I mean, he's obviously been watching the channel. It's happened for a couple of guys so far. John Rahm was one that followed the beard. Obviously, after being a huge fan of the channel, and obviously now Scottie Scheffler, he's kind of been looking at some golf tips and going, God, you know, I need two things in my life. I need be able to putt.
Yeah.
And I need a Rick Shiels beard.
Why hasn't it worked for you then?
I don't know. Maybe I need to go the other. It's because I've not got a mallet.
Correct.
Put a mallet in my bag.
You know what though? You're right though with the swapping the putter. And there's been a lot. I don't really understand all the strokes gain stuff. I don't think a lot of people really do. But ultimately, everybody knows his strokes gained putting has been horrendous.
He's just doing better than everyone else.
Exactly.
Oh, in the past. Sorry.
And his irons and his ball striking is top of the tree. So everybody's always said, you know, the real kind of like hardcore golf journalists, etc. If he can just put okay, he'll win so many tournaments. And obviously, not only did he put okay, the last 3 days he putted insane with that new mallet putter in the bag. And everybody knows when you swap putters, certainly something that's so contrasting from what you've been using, there can be some level of honeymoon period. Will it last? I don't know. However, this week we've got the Players, which he's won before. He won it last year. So even if it only lasts another week, that gives him a great shot. The Masters is around the corner.
Exactly, you're not far away.
And even if it doesn't last anywhere near the level it's at now, as long as it doesn't go off the boil completely and it's just okay, I can't see how he's not just going to be so dominant. But I know this has been said a million times before. I was watching him at the weekend, some shots, and I still can't get over the movement with his foot on the driver in particular.
Honestly so
when you watch
bizarre.
that and the way he hits it so flush.
It's one of the most bizarre golf moves.
It's crazy.
Because there's been wacky golf swings. Jim Furyk, Matt Wolff, Bubba Watson. But a lot of them, you actually look at impact and you think, well, actually, everything's pretty awesome there. They've got some mad characteristics. With Scottie Scheffler, his actual mechanics going back actually look okay. Coming down, obviously, his impact must be sensational, but it doesn't look it.
It's crazy.
The way he slides that right foot back, I mean, it's unbelievable. He's got a history of getting hot early in the season. That's kind of when he went on his incredible run a few years ago. Has he now... Am I right in saying, has he just surpassed 100 weeks at world number one or something along those lines?
I'm not sure, but it would sound about a couple of years, isn't it?
He's one of very, very elite golfers now who've had a long reign of being world number ones. And who would have ever guessed it? Even when he went on that mad run a few years ago, probably everyone thought it might be a bit short-lived, this. The fact he's continued it is incredible with the issues he's had on the putting green. So you've got that story, which is incredible. So well done, Scottie. And Bay Hill, the video we released last Friday, you'll see... Obviously, I shot 80 round there. It's bloody hard. Like, it's a really, really, really tough golf course. I couldn't even dream of 6 under.
It's crazy,
He beat
isn't
me
it?
by 16 shots on the final round with that much
ridiculous.
pressure. I mean, these guys are just obscene. What was mad, though, a couple of things. The field was very small this week.
Yeah.
Was there a major reason behind that?
Well, it's an invitational. I don't know what the field normally looks like.
But like, there was only like 10 players that missed the cut.
Oh, I think it was because, was it not something to do with if you're within 10 shots of the lead after you don't miss the cut?
So, but also what was mad, there was huge numbers on the 6th hole, the par 5, the mad dog leg round the corner, which I actually nearly birded in the video. I hit 3 great shots and just missed out on a short putt. You had Tommy Fleetwood making a 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, saw that.
Like, what the hell? And when you actually look, I didn't see it live, and I don't think there's any actual video footage of him making this 10. When you look at it through the app of what he did, it looked like a very, almost like Tin Cup-esque 10. Like, it was like, it is a good tee shot, and he stood in the middle of the fairway and smashed 3 straight into the water left. Like, what a bizarre way. And then you had the other kid, his name's missed my mind now, he had a 12 on the hole, but the day before he eagled it. He almost went for the green the first day, 165 yards left into the green, knocked it on and hold it for eagle. The next day he made a 12 on that hole. I mean, unbelievable. I think from history, I'm sure, was it John Daly? It made like a 17.
I've got a question for you while you look that up. Do you think, I know we talk about LIV and the PGA Tour every single week, and I don't know when this will stop because it just is news all the time. Do you think that the major championships, whether they would ever come out and say this or not, actually love the fact there is now 2 tours competing?
I think so. I think it's only strengthened the major championships.
Well, I'm looking now, like when you look at obviously...
Sorry, by the way, John Daly had an 18 one time.
Heck.
He lost 6 balls into the water.
When you look at, obviously, the PGA Tour this weekend, you look at the field, you look at who did well, you look at who was up there. Obviously, Scottie Scheffler won. Wyndham Clark was up there, Shane Lowry, Zalatoris. A lot of the names you'd kind of expect and really, really, big names, household names, and the names that the PGA Tour would kind of want to be up there. And then you look at LIV and you look at who was up on their leaderboard. You've got obviously Abraham Hansen won, but you've got Cameron Smith, Joaquin Neiman, who obviously a lot of people are saying is arguably the best player at LIV at the moment. DeChambeau, and obviously we know we've got John Rahm on there, and you've got Brooks Koepka, etc. Now, in a normal year, pre-LIV, most of those guys who we're talking about would probably be playing at Bay Hill or wherever it may be, or certainly at Sawgrass. So whoever kind of wins Sawgrass, let's just use that as the example, is the best player that week, arguably in the world, because of obviously the field. When we have these 2 tours competing, you can't... obviously, yes, Scottie Scheffler's the world number 1, but I know it's jokes with this whole Taylor Gooch and having the asterisks and he's not playing, but genuinely, is there some level of asterisk? I don't know the answer to this, but is there when you think, yeah, but okay, Scottie Scheffler did win, but what if John Rahm was playing? What if Koepka was playing? And the only time we get the answer to those questions now is the 4 majors. The time it will start to get watered down is when, I know Taylor Gooch again is in any of the majors this year.
He is.
If it happens where big names who are on form don't get in the majors, then it might start to get a little bit watered down. But right now, I'm honestly excited for the Masters more than ever because I want to see how all these guys get on in that kind of event.
Yeah, well, it was even last year. Obviously, it was starting to bubble over last year, and you had like Brooks Koepka going out really strong, and John Rahm actually holding Brooks Koepka off last year. Well, actually, now both of those guys are now at LIV. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, have I still got the Masters app on my phone? If you actually look at I've deleted it. If you actually look at the leaderboard from last year's Masters, a lot of now the top 10 now are LIV players.
Yeah.
Like at the time they weren't, such as John Rahm, obviously, who won. He was a PGA Tour player. I think now if you looked at it, so I think the Masters is going to be really, really interesting this year. I think the Open, I think the US Open, the PGA, all of it is going to be amazing. And actually, you see a lot of that in the Full Swing documentary, which I know we're going to come on to shortly. Like you see a lot of that kind of almost behind the scenes, and you forget these guys have to share a locker room together. It's not like if let's say. The football match this weekend, you've got City locker room and a Liverpool locker room. They don't see each other really until they're on the pitch. Not in golf. In golf, when it's the Masters, they are sharing the same locker space. Like their bags are right next to each other in the locker room. I find it crazy. That must play on everybody's mind. I don't think it's one side or the other. That must play on every single golfer's mind that is in that locker room.
I've not quite... I know you've not either, but I've not finished the new series of Full Swing yet. I have watched 2/3 of it and I'm enjoying it. One thing that definitely struck me is that it doesn't seem, from what you do see, that the guys that are on LIV that you see knocking about and stuff, there's any real bad blood. It doesn't feel
seem like they're bothered at all.
Not at all. So it doesn't feel like the players really care. But Full Swing, so far, I really have enjoyed it. And I think, for me, the one takeaway I get from it is how much easier it is to become a fan of a golfer when you actually see more about them. And the one I'd use as an example, I don't think you've watched the episode yet, is Keegan Bradley. And, I've never disliked Keegan Bradley, but I've never certainly rooted for Keegan Bradley before. I don't really know why. And the episode that he features in heavily is where it's about the Ryder Cup and Zach Johnson's choosing. And the way it portrays it very much, it's between, obviously...
Oh, don't ruin who he picked.
I thought you were being serious then. Good acting, because then you got a D in drama.
I know, thank you.
He's very much between, obviously, Justin Thomas, who he's friends with, who you see him share... This is Zach Johnson I'm talking about. You see him sharing a house with him at the Open. They are very pally. And obviously Keegan Bradley, and it's kind of worded really in the episode that Keegan Bradley doesn't fit. He's not part of the club, not part of the crew. And Zach Johnson's very friendly with Spieth, and obviously JT and Ricky Fowler. They are boys, if you like. And when you see Keegan Bradley at home with his wife and with his children, he does come across really, really well. And obviously these narratives are painted to make you feel emotions and get drawn in. And my wife was watching, and she was really drawn in. She had no idea who he picked. So it was really, it was insightful for her. And I did feel really bad for Keegan Bradley. Now, when that was actually announced in real time, I couldn't give a toss. I'd well rather Ricky Fowler or Justin Thomas go. And that might still be the case, I don't know. But when you do watch this and you learn more about the guys, you do become bigger fans. And you could argue what the Tour doing. I was going to say they are, helping Netflix with this and getting involved. But what can the Tour or Tours do to get people more behind the players?
I think similar to what we've managed to do. Time with players. You look at the comments that we've received when filming with top pros and when we've had them on the podcast. It's really whether they've had a previous opinion of that player, now that opinion's shifted, whether they've not been the biggest fan and now they've become a big fan, whatever it is. I think that kind of openness, that vulnerability, not just because you've got to think about it. When they're playing golf in the professional manner, i.e. coming down the stretch of a tournament, they are in work mode, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And I always remember back in the day, and I was thinking about this even for me recently, when they're in work mode, they're not really smiling. They're not really joking, are they?
No.
They are competitive. They are gladiators in their kind of coliseum, and their job is to win that golf event. And you're not going to get any other side out of Maya.
No.
I remember back in the day, like when Tiger was in the stretch, he wouldn't smile. He didn't talk to his playing partners. He was so focused on winning to the point where it almost came across as a bit, he's being a bit rude.
Yeah.
Being a bit obnoxious. Like, why is he acting like that? And I always remember even growing up, like I'd either be watching Tiger with my mum or watching it with Claire or whatever. And why did he never smile? Because he's so focused on winning a golf tournament.
No, I'd agree. I think certainly as a golfer, though, it's easier to start getting behind somebody when they are dominant. So whereas I can understand maybe a casual or non-golfer looking at Tiger in that manner of being, why is he not smiling? And that would be hard to almost root for them. But when you are a golfer and you're invested in the golfer that's winning and you want to see greatness unfold, you start to root for that person, i.e. Tiger. I think when it's somebody, and everybody should be playing golf seriously, they're all playing for money and they've all got different purposes. But if you're watching a more middle-of-the-road pro who looks very serious, who then doesn't win or doesn't even make the cut, it does become hard to then feel invested,
I think to some degree, though, you look at, let's say a Ricky Fowler, again, going back to that Full Swing documentary, when you look at him, was it the US Open where he missed out to Wyndham Clark? When you look at him playing that event, coming down, he's not smart. He's not like, he's not in Ricky Fowler mode. He's in, I'm serious. I've got to win this golf event. The reason why you root for someone like Ricky or a Tony Finau or other players like that who show that a bit more emotion, you see it off outside of the workplace, don't you? And I think even going back to a lot of the criticism that I've received recently around kind of my playing and my frustration, even going back to the match that we had, I think what people, and I kind of almost unpacked this over this weekend when I was almost reflecting on a few things. I was like, well, actually, I was probably in serious mode. Like, I was in, I want to win a golf match mode. And unfortunately, that doesn't always come across as happy, jokey. Sometimes, like, I think I'm best if I'm proper in focus mode. You saw it against the match against Grant, the match against you, and a few other times this year. I am definitely a different kind of person in that mindset. I'm not as jovial or jokey. When I'm playing with a tour pro, I am a bit more jovial and jokey because I want them to have fun. I'm not in, if I went out and played with some of these tour pros in actual focus mode and like my focus is to beat that golfer, I actually think my personality would be very different.
I think that's the thing, though. People aren't watching you for your level of golf,
but what I'm saying, though, that's where it's hard.
Exactly.
Because I'm trying to almost compete and have this competitive edge to me, as well as almost having this personality. Where you look at the guys on tour,
they just have to think about performance.
They couldn't give a crap about their personality if it means they win a golf event.
Well, who do you think that on tour right now does a good job of mixing the both? Because obviously, if somebody started leveraging social media too much and trying to be a personality and the golf suffers, well, that's silly. I think if you look at people who are performing to a high level but still showcasing the personality, I think someone like Minwoo Lee does a great job of that.
Correct.
Who else would you say that does kind of a good job of coming across? No, I don't say coming across well, but doing a bit more to almost showcase themselves.
I mean, the obvious choice is obviously Bryson.
Yeah.
He's obviously very open with what he does off the golf course as well. Who else? I would argue every one of those players that are signing up for Full Swing. Mm-hmm. Even someone like Rory. Like
Max Homa does a good job.
Max Homa does a great job. You look at Rory, and actually the way Rory comes across in that documentary, it's a different Rory to what you normally see.
Yeah.
You know, looking at him in the car and checking out what his playlist was, desperately looking whether he listens to the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast or not. But like that is. But even just that little scene, you're like, God, he is actually a person.
But then, how would you? And this, I don't want to get personal on this, but someone like Tommy, I know he's done stuff with us, but even before that, most people like Tommy Fleetwood. But almost, what is it that he does that's likable? Is it in his interviews? You think? Is it how he comes across?
You even remember his interviews, like, you know, it's all the little daft things. I can't remember where the venue was. I've got a funny feeling it was like somewhere like Houston, where it's really, really, really hot in the summer, and it's notoriously hot golf event. And straight after the interview, he jumps on the mic with whoever it was for Sky Sports or whatever, and they say, you know, God, was it hot out there, Tom? And he goes, wasn't hot at all. And it's even just that little, and obviously he was being sarcastic, but just that, and then he gives a little smirk and a little smile, and it's like, well, yeah, of course it was hot. But like, it's all those little things, you know. Even when someone like a Tommy, they recently he did those collaborations with the graphics guy, the green screen guy. I think he's called Brandon B.
Can you hear a bit of echo? This might be your phone.
Brandon B or something. And he even,
I don't know what that noise is.
He even said later on, one of your phones near the mics, lads. I'm not sure. We're getting a bit of interference.
I just feel like it started all of a sudden. We'll keep this rolling though. Don't worry about it.
And he's saying like haters going to say it's fake, and obviously it is fake. I think it's those little things, like Max Homer when he puts his headphones in during the interview, and it's like it's a chat, and you feel like you're really connected to him. Sorry, we had a bit of interference there, so Matt has just fixed it.
Stop interfering.
I think it's just those little moments of personality that pop through, and some players have it. Some players just don't have it. Do they? Let's be honest. Yeah. Some players just have that little bit of character, a little bit of charisma. They want to showcase it. It naturally flows out of them. Other players couldn't give a crap. They just want to go there and play golf, don't they?
And that's the thing. It's like I said, it's easy to get behind someone who is winning. And that's, you know, I do love seeing dominant golfers. And the way that Scottie Scheffler's playing right now with obviously his putting that seems to be fixed, I'm excited to see how he goes on. Rory's not going to like that, is he? Let's be honest, Rory's going to want to come and...
Well, even again, Rory in that Full Swing documentary, and sorry if people haven't fully watched it yet, I highly recommend it. He's like, someone in my era now has won more majors than me.
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka. It's like, God, you know, that must really spur him on. He must think, crap, I need to...
I can hear that noise again, I'm sorry. Can you hear it?
So sorry, I don't want to give any spoilers away for Full Swing, but definitely worth watching. But even Rory in that says like someone now in his era has won more majors than him.
Yeah,
like that must really be like a dagger in the hat for someone who's that good. Like you must think, crap. Like you've almost got to. It puts you in that position of like next time Rory. There's loads of talk about. Does Rory really care anymore? He bloody cares. Absolutely. He wants to win majors like massively. What's interesting at the end of this, I know we've got some questions coming up. I also had the pleasure while I was at Bay Hill. Managed to spend quite a bit of time, and he was in the video. Roy Saunders, who's Arnold Palmer's son-in-law, and
he came across really well.
He is such a nice guy. He's a pleasure to be with. He literally basically runs Bay Hill now with his wife, who's obviously Arnold Palmer's daughter, and they've also set up the Palmer Foundation, and this is a great initiative to help young talented golfers to be able to kind of pursue their dreams. And we actually had an opportunity to sit down with Rachel Kuehn while we're at Bay Hill. Rachel is an incredible player, unbelievable. She actually, I didn't know this at the time, she actually featured in the Full Swing documentary because it's Alex Fitzpatrick's girlfriend, which I didn't know at the time. But Rachel comes across unbelievable, and there's a little chit chat, sit down interview with Rachel that we'll insert now. All right, everybody, we're down here at Bay Hill, and I'm joined by two very special guests. Joined by Ken Boehner and also Rachel Kuehn. I want to talk about the Palmer Foundation, something that's been going for over a decade. And Ken, as chairman and president, tell us about the foundation and how it's helping support golf around the States.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us today, Rick. So the Palmer Foundation, as you said, has been in existence for over a decade. Our mission is to carry forward the legacy of Arnold and Winnie Palmer. That legacy is very much about an American life of global significance, about a genuine love for golf and a genuine love for people. And this balance that was very unusual, and I think is still unusual, of character and personality that made them friends to presidents and built an army of admirers. That army has helped us carry forward the legacy. And we like to say that the legacy is, and the impact that the Palmers have had is, it's not just about golf, but it's because of golf, and that's allowed us to carry on the philanthropic efforts that the Palmers really cared about: children's health care, nature-focused wellness, and youth character development through golf. And that sort of leads us, in a way, to our ability to support rising stars in the game, like Rachel. And so about a year ago, the foundation endowed the Arnold and Winnie Palmer Women's Golf Scholarship at Wake Forest. Rachel is the first recipient of that, and we're delighted to have a very close relationship with her and with the rest of the team at Wake.
That's excellent. I mean, I love the factors you talk about there: character building, all things that Mr. Palmer himself was obviously so well known for. Rachel, you're the first recipient. I mean, how does that feel? How's it helped you? How's it helped your golf development? I know you've got a tee time very soon, so I know we've not got loads of times, but talk us through how it's helped support you.
Yeah, it's just such an honor. I mean, Mr. Palmer was, a character that was larger than life, and obviously has given back to golf in so many ways through, what he did while he was still alive, but also through his foundation. So to kind of get to associate my name with him just a little bit, it'll give me goosebumps just talking about it, and it's been so fun kind of getting to work with you guys at the foundation and getting to know everyone. But obviously, we like to claim Mr. Palmer at Wake Forest, so to be able to be the first recipient of the scholarship, I'm forever indebted to the foundation.
And how's your golf been this year? And how have you how's that launched your golf career, and how's it helping you develop as a player?
Yeah, the golf's been great. It's, we've been lucky to have a really great year so far as a team. And I know we've really enjoyed continuing the relationship with the foundation, and, hopefully we'll be able to, we're coming off a defending national championship, so hopefully we'll be able to go back and do that again this year.
What's exciting as well is the first recipient. You can obviously, there's going to be others that follow, many more. And you can kind of shine the light. You're going to be the example for other, budding stars in the future to really kind of benefit from the foundation. So it's really exciting, and I hope everything goes really well this year. Hopefully defend the championship, and hopefully you don't get too wet today, even though it's a little bit rainy here at Bay Hill, which I've never seen. So continue well with the golf. Thank you so much, Ken. Thanks for having us. And guys, if you want to learn more about the Palmer Foundation, I'll put a link in the description of this video and podcast, so you can check it out and support the foundation, because they're doing incredible things, and I can't wait to see it continue to grow. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks very much.
Rachel. All the best
you.
today.
Thanks.
Ken.
Thanks very much.
Thanks so much. So, who knows where Rachel will be in the future?
I'm excited to see.
All through the foundation, the Palmer Foundation. So amazing time to spend with her, and wish her luck in the future.
Just on that then, before we kind of get to some of the questions, speaking of obviously Rachel and Alex Fitzpatrick, who was obviously in the Netflix documentary kind of heavily with his brother Matt. I don't know if I said with his brother Matt, as if nobody knows who Matt Fitzpatrick is, but they came across really well. And there was you're not on the episode, I don't think, are you? The Matt Fitzpatrick one. Because Full Swing came here for the full day, didn't they, and filmed with me? Yeah. That was Full Swing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Right? I am in the document, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
In the episode...
I thought you'd like...
You've not seen it yet, have you?
No.
Well, yeah, you're in it. But,
great, thanks.
Maybe next year. No, but Alex came across really well, and his story obviously was being the kind of the underdog, the younger brother that's obviously got the huge footsteps to fill of Matt. And it's really good to see, because obviously he had that great appearance at the Open and did really well at the Open Championship last year at Royal Liverpool. I think there's big things destined for him. Whether he'll win a major like his brother, I don't know, but who knows?
There was always talks, and it feels like these talks have been around forever, that Matt Fitzpatrick's got this younger brother, and this, I'm talking like 5, 6, 7 years, and everyone's like, he's well better. Alex is well better, and you think, shut up, he can't be better. And since that 5 or 6 years, Matt's got ridiculously better, and then Alex is kind of like bashing through the door, and apparently they've got such different approaches to golf as well. Alex has watched the channel. I've spoken to him a few times. I'll have to get Alex on the channel.
Awesome.
It'll be great to get him on.
I think that's a bit like an old wives' tale, isn't it? There's always somebody, whether it be Paul Scholes, obviously arguably one of Man United's best ever footballers. There's always someone that goes, oh yeah, but little Johnny Shiels that played with him was better, but he got into the wrong crowd, so he didn't carry on. There's always a thing in it. But so some questions from Facebook. From David Creasy, he has asked, and it's timely that I'm asking this, Rick. Are there any plans this year for a Golfbidder challenge with Peter Finch.
I don't want that one. There is. It's going to be filmed very soon, and it's being released the week after the Masters.
Call him out more than that. Come on, give me something to play with. Give me something to clip.
So last year,
Yeah.
I went into it possibly not feeling very confident, and I think Pete had not played a great deal of golf either.
Right.
We went and played at St George's Hill, and it went. I was 1 up with 1 hole left to play. And I was 2 up with 2 holes left to play. I should have closed it out on the 17th. I didn't. I could have, should have, would have closed it out on the 18th, and I didn't. Therefore, the match finished all square. So this is almost like the rematch. There's a lot of talk about Pete being so much better in all this, but I'm a match play guy, hopefully. So I'm going to bring my A game as much as I can. It's going to be filmed next couple of weeks. I've already got a practice schedule between now and that match.
Wow.
I'm going serious this time.
Wow.
And I'm really, 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 really going to focus on the club choice from Golfbidder. What clubs are going to help me? What tools are going to aid me to beat Peter Finch?
Interesting. I'm excited for that.
And I will beat him.
You know what, right? I've got a little random spin off from that. When we played our match, I don't know if I said this to camera, I think I might have done. I had to beat you on the last hole to halve the match. I didn't do. I lost that hole, so I lost 2 down. And when I was over my second shot into the green, I had this thought, and I think I said to camera that if I don't hit a good shot here or whatever, I don't want to go home tonight or back to the hotel and be thinking, oh, we should have done this or we should have done that. This is the chance to do it now. And I'd never thought about golf like that before, ever. That realistically, it sounds obvious, but how many times has everybody, and we always will, play golf and you go home and you think, I wish I could pay to go and play that shot again, or I missed the putt on the last, or went out of bounds, or I didn't get out the bunker. But ultimately, the time to do it is the moment you're in. Do you ever think like that with golf? At that time, I'm sure now you would love to pay to go back to play that last hole against Pete and beat him. But in the moment, you didn't do it. Like, how can we as golfers actually be more in that moment and say, right, this is the time to hit this putt, this is the time to not go out of bounds or whatever. If I do a bad shot, I can't wish I could come back. It's now. Like, how do we do that?
I think it was. Remember when we filmed with Tommy, and after the round we did like a sit down chat and like almost like a tips. Was it? I can't remember what it was for now. I think, did we use it for a video? And he did something really good after every round of golf. I know it didn't possibly help him at Bay Hill this weekend, but after every single round of golf, he'd write down 3 to 5 of his best shots that he hit. They're the ones that he hit. And I think it's not almost like positive reinforcement. Imagine if every time you play, you write down 3 or 5 of your best shots, albeit, and they're the ones you focus on. Because then the next time you go out and play, you remember those 3 or 5 shots, and you almost don't even give yourself an option of hitting bad shots. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that's a way of potentially doing it, is almost filling your bucket with positivity, and it almost flushes out any negativity. I'm not saying that that's going to guarantee next time you're in that situation. I think so much of it is the process, your pre-shot routine and all that jazz. But I think, honestly, if you can fill it with positive reinforcements.
I think to almost answer my own question, probably what I do more, and again, a lot of people do this, is you do something and immediately you regret maybe not listening to your gut or your instinct. And a very simple one, thankfully I've not done for years, I used to do it as a junior all the time. Set up to my driver and think, oh, that tee's a bit low, that tee's a bit high, but I can't be bothered, and hit it and then hit a bad shot and be like, why did I do that? Or be over a 6-foot putt and not be fully sure on the read and just go, well, I'll just go left and then hit it, and it'd be the opposite way, and thinking, why did I not go back and just double check and just stand over the putt, even if I hit a bad putt or hit a bad tee shot, whatever it might be, but feeling like I'm doing the right thing in the moment.
That goes back to your process, doesn't it?
Correct.
Like, should you ever been stood over the putt without knowing the line? Like,
and that's something that good golfers do well, don't they?
They don't question it.
Yeah.
You know, when it's down that thing, when they put the tee peg in the ground, they put it down and go, is that right?
Yeah. Because I think sometimes what baffles me with golf is I was watching, again, Scottie Scheffler with his funky foot movement, best ball striker on the planet, that can't be really argued. And there was a shot I hit yesterday with his driver, and obviously hits it hard and hits it far and everything. And it was a slow motion shot, and it showed actually the face of his driver. And he obviously middled this one. But when you think about a golf shot, and certainly with our driver, you know, when you swing the golf club back, how far that club head goes from the golf ball that you started it behind. Yeah. And then you then deliver it at speed. And not always, but sometimes those Miyamoto's hit good golf shots. But equally, the difference between a flushed golf shot and even a shank, which is the worst shot in golf, really, it's not very big. And the difference between a flushed golf shot and a slight heel, which can then curve a lot, is tiny.
Or a slight fat or a slight
yeah,
thin.
like how precise golf is. It is mad when you think about it like that.
And that's albeit a flat lie.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You then throw in different lies, different grass conditions, different wind, and all the way you're feeling that day. It's crazy to think someone can be that good at ball striking all the time.
Have you ever thought to yourself, what happened if one day you just woke up and you just couldn't hit a golf shot the same? Like, what happened if Rory woke up tomorrow? Nothing was wrong with him. He was perfectly healthy, but just whatever reason, his golf swing just wasn't the same. Like, it's mad, isn't it? It could happen.
I dreamed the other way.
What if it's the other way? Next thing you're just flushing it.
I dreamed the other way, definitely. What about if I woke up and it was all right? All this was a horrible nightmare.
Yeah, it could happen. Okay, Rob Johnson has asked Rick, why don't more tour pros use even-roll putters? You've been an even-roll guy for a long time.
I think so much of it is you look at the players who use what putters they use on tour, and a lot of the time they use putters from the brand they're sponsored by. I think Ping have a policy. I'm pretty sure you have to use a Ping putter.
I'd be surprised.
Obviously, TaylorMade now have a wide collection of Ping putters. TaylorMade putters, sorry. Odyssey and Callaway, that's obviously a connection. EVNROLL, I think the only way EVNROLL can get in more people's hands is if someone, let's say, like, not even Cobra. I don't think there is space for them now. Scotty Cameron's probably the outlier, but they're sponsored by, obviously connected with Titleist. I think it's very difficult to get a non-branded putter. Like, can you think of any, right? Because it's the same situation. Why do you not see many lab putters?
Yeah.
You see a few, but not many. You see a few EVNROLLs, not many. You see a few, I'm trying to think of other random putters.
It probably depends as well on, first of all, like, do EVNROLL want to be in the bags of tour pros? I'm sure they do, of course. You'd be mad not to. However, are they willing to maybe pay what it would cost? Because I'm sure they could go and get some tour pros and say, look, we'll put all our eggs in one basket and try and sign X player. But ultimately, if your business model is to sell to consumers, then does it always resonate having tour pros? It's a tough one. I think with putters as well, if you are just a bespoke putter brand, which EVNROLL are as far as I'm aware, well, EVNROLL kind of gives it away. I think it's quite a risky business to sponsor tour pros because they can quickly swap putter or they can have a bad few weeks. It's quite kind of like...
It's the same.
Quite a fickle product, isn't it?
But it's the same argument of why you don't see that many different golf ball brands coming into market. Really? Like, let's say...
Well, on tour.
That's what I mean.
Oh, sorry, right,
Sorry, I meant on tour. Let's say Vice, for argument's sake. Good golf ball.
Yeah.
Like, really good golf ball. You're never going to see them on tour.
Well, I think brands like that think that the £500,000 would spend to give them to X person on tour. Let's save that money and save price to the consumer and penetrate the marketplace that way, which makes sense.
That might be Vice's strategy, but it's like, I think there's a lot of brands that are on the kind of outer circle of the tour golf that it's either really, really hard to get into it because there is just so many barriers, or like you said, the strategy is actually to dominate the area around the tour.
What baffles me, I'd like people to maybe comment down below or email us podcast@rickshiels.com. We're going to do an episode next week with loads of emails, so feel free to email us podcast@rickshiels.com. But I'd be keen to know, like, how bothered actually are people about what they buy versus what the brands the Tour Pro use? Like, there must be part of it, even if it's subconscious, that Rory McIlroy uses TaylorMade as a QI10 driver out of Scottie Scheffler. So then when you go for a new driver fitting, you might even try one out or even look at it in a certain way because you know that Rory uses it. Even if that has no bearing in your own mind on your decision, it probably is in there in the back of your mind. But how much, like, when you look at golf balls, Titleist obviously kill it. I think every event this week, maybe apart from Liv, was won by a Pro V1. It's crazy. But the average guy or girl that's going for a round of golf and needs a few balls, goes to the pro shop. Do they buy what's cheap? Do they buy what box they like? Like, what actually, does it actually affect people's buying habits, what the tour pros use?
I live in golf too much. I don't really know.
No.
Like, when you were working in a pro shop, did you find that or when you were working in the golf shop, American Golf, did you find that people would come in and go, I want to use that driver that Rory's using?
Well, very rarely.
And again, you work for Nike, and that didn't happen.
No, very, very rarely. But Are people willing to maybe book a Nike fitting back in the day? Obviously, they don't make the clubs anymore, but because they knew that Rory and Tiger used them, did that give them some level of legitimacy? Whereas if Nike came out and were only just available to normal golfers, would that have made them look cheap? Like, for example, obviously Costco are doing very well with their Kirkland range because people just think they're good value. If suddenly a tour pro started using Costco clubs or whatever, would more people then be like, okay, well, actually, I've seen them before, but if Tyrrell Hatton of all people's now using a Kirkland ball, I might try that. But how do people even realise they're thinking that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a weird one.
I don't know. I think that's, and I'm not sure even if listeners and viewers might go, it doesn't influence me, not a single bit. But they might not even know it
that's the point.
them. Like, it might influence them way more than they even realise.
And I wonder how much tour pros are influenced by other tour pros. I think a lot.
Yeah.
I think when Rory obviously said to Scottie Scheffler about trying a Spider X, he's thought, okay, well, if Rory's using one, I'll give it a go. You're going to listen to Rory McIlroy, aren't you, at the end of the day?
I think so.
I would.
There you go.
Okay, one more then. Alan Campbell, this is a request apparently rather than a question.
Okay.
He said request again, so he's quite formal with this. Don't call it a trap, it's a bunker.
Oh.
I think I do call it a bunker, but I think I would call it a trap if I'm talking about it in the whole.
I call it a trap when I'm playing with tour pros because I think it sounds cool.
And then you also, rather than say like 175 away, you say I'm 75.
I've always struggled with that.
Yeah, it's not.
When a tour pro, they'll zap it, I say, how far is it? They'll go 35, and I'm thinking,
looks a long way.
I'm not sure if I can chip it.
That's one of those weird things that's quite like cool, but there's not really much need to. You don't save a lot of time.
I think it's I think it's one of the most ridiculous things ever as well. I do, honestly. When you hear it on TV and a caddy goes, yeah, it's 77, you're thinking, and just for people not really, that actually means 177.
I suppose to the caddy and the player, it's so obvious that it's not.
I know, but I still want to hear 177.
Yeah, I know, but I don't get why. It's not like it saves them a load of time. Not even like, it's like 77. Just say 177. What other golf things do golfers do that are just pointless? But like, for example, a glove in the back pocket. There's no need. It's just a fashion thing, isn't it?
That is proper fashion.
Like, you take your glove off, fair enough. Does it improve feel? Yes or no? It's a habit. But then to put it in your back pocket, there was a golfer that kind of invented that. I can't think who it was, who first put it in his back pocket, and now every golfer does it, really.
But it's even like the scorecard and the scorecard holder in the back pocket.
I don't get that because they're so big.
So big. Course planner, back pocket, so
and
big.
even like as well, when a golfer holds a good putt, like a 12 foot that they needed, and they kind of do the nice little hand raise, they often like tap the putter down as they like repairing a few pitch marks. It's like, it's just a habit because you're not asked if there's a pitch mark, because if anything, it sounds bad. You want them to be pitch marks for the people behind you.
The tap of your wedge on the bottom of your shoe when you get out of a bunker.
Yeah, again, it's always when you've hit a decent shot, that, innit? You wouldn't, if you've hit a horrendous shot and fatted it out, you don't like tap it. It's like when you're like, yeah, little things like that, isn't there? They're just like, when you're playing well or you want to look good, you kind of do.
Yeah, you're right. When you're playing well, again, you repair a lot more pitch marks.
Absolutely.
You go, I'm going to get yours, John. When you're playing bad, you're like,
yeah. Oh wow, Rick Swan on the podcast.
I'm not getting yours. Sorry. I don't know who John is. But.
Next week, I want to go through, as I said, a lot of podcast emails. So we've not done emails for a while, and I've not had a good Dear Rick with you for a long time either, where you have to really think about your answer. You don't just reel it off. You have to really think and go into a deep, dark place. Last question, though, and I've lost it. Oh, it's annoying. But there's been a lot of people asking about, firstly, your clubs in general. But, I've got it. Matt Hart, Harty, we'll call him. He has said, is it about time Rick replaced his 3-wood? Yes. It's not so reliable anymore.
Yes. I don't think he's ever been reliable.
No.
There's a lot of clubs I need to change, and I need to do it soon as. I don't know. I'm somewhat hesitant for some reason. I need to get rid of my putter. I've got a new putter in the bag.
Got a new putter in the bag?
Yeah.
Which is it? There's Cam, little Cammers.
Got a little Scottie, new Scottie in the bag. Trial period, because both my EVNROLL and my Scottie are in the bag, so that's why when you know it's a trial period. Desperate to try a new 3-wood, which I will do. Desperate to try a new long iron, which I need to do. Need to get some new irons, probably a new driver,
a new swing,
and maybe some new wedges.
New swing, new mental coach,
everything. I'm gonna rip it up and start.
But
again.
it's all about being fun. It's all about having fun.
It's not fun. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you want to follow a little bit more about the Palm Foundation, I'll put a link in the top line of the description. And players next week.
I'm excited for that. I'm going to try and watch a lot of it.
Prediction, who's going to win?
Scottie Scheffler. Easy. And it's a really rubbish shout, I know. But I'd love to see Tommy. Tommy would just,
Tommy, that'd be the biggest bounce back ever after last week.
I think he could.
I'm going to go Justin Thomas. Don't know why.
Okay.
Just think it.
I just think it.
Bye, everyone. Cheerio.